Hello, everybody, once again, and welcome to the podcast. It's 3 a.m., and this is important. I'm Matt, and with me, as always, is Jessy.
Hello, hello.
And usually I would ask Jessy what we were talking about today, but I guess this is like the first one that I'm kind of self-directing.
Yeah.
And Jessy, you're along for the ride.
So, Matt, what are we talking about today?
So today, I kind of decided that I wanted to go off the cuff, do a weird episode, and something came to mind. I'm calling it Moments in Life. Basically, I'm just going to tell you a story from my past, and that's pretty much it. It's like an interesting story from my childhood. I think it's interesting, at least.
I'm excited.
And the origins behind this story are actually kind of interesting because I didn't remember this story until about 3 months ago.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the reason I remember this story is because in therapy, I'm doing something called EMDR, which is something we'll talk about at some point because it's a very interesting subject to me that I don't understand. And have you ever tried EMDR actually, Jessy?
No. Isn't it like left brain, right brain, like building a connection, whether it's
Kind
like
of.
a vibration or maybe like a light or some sort of like tapping back and forth or something?
Well, essentially the idea behind EMDR is that it sort of acts as like a REM cycle sort of activator.
Okay.
So basically,
While you're awake though?
Yeah, while you're awake. So
Okay.
basically what it does is it kind of tells your brain that you're going into a REM cycle, something like that. The weird thing about EMDR is they can't really explain it. They just know it works. So your eyes, essentially any method for EMDR that's being used will essentially just exist to make your eyes move left and right rapidly.
Yeah. I don't know what it stands for. Eye movement?
Rapid eye movement. That's what REM stands for.
Yeah, I know that's what
EMDR,
REM stands for.
It stands for eye
EMDR.
movement. Yeah, eye movement is the only part I know of that.
Okay.
We will figure this out eventually, but I've been doing EMDR for a while. It kind of stimulates your brain in a way that you can't on your own, essentially. It needs to be sort of guided. And your brain can find things and reconnect pathways and bring things from the subconscious to the conscious mind. And it's interesting and weird. And sometimes things you didn't know existed can just like pop out and exist again.
Very cool.
So
Very,
that's
very
essentially what
cool.
happened with this story, is that we were going through one of my fundamental beliefs that's kind of the targets for EMDRs. You have fundamental beliefs about yourself or about life, and you target those things to kind of find a healthier place.
Right.
So-
Kind of question them or maybe like find evidence that maybe hard-held or long-held beliefs like aren't necessarily true about
Yeah,
yourself. Is
exactly.
that-
Like there's certain things like that I've gone through that are like my need for control or my self-image or self-confidence, or like one negative belief would be I am not good enough.
Right.
That's a fundamental belief that you find memories that kind of fit with that, and then you target those memories. So anyway, I think it was when I was targeting I am not in control or I need control. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And we were trying to float back. That's what you do. You go through all these.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, it's got all these weird terminologies.
You know what that kind of reminds me of is like Get Out. Where
Get
he
Out.
like
Oh,
sinks
yeah,
into the
totally.
chair and like floats into his unconscious.
Yeah,
or
for
conscious or whatever
sure.
it is.
Yeah. Okay. So you float back and you're searching your brain. You're doing like a control F for your fucking memories. And what you're initially trying to find is the first instance of this core belief,
Okay.
this fundamental thing that's
So
a part of
you're
you.
intentionally kind of like digging for
Yeah.
long forgotten memories. It's,
Yeah, you're trying to find
okay.
targets that fit with these core beliefs that exist as kind of a beginning point for when you started feeling this way
Right.
and when it became a part of your psyche and a part of your genetic, or not your genetic, like your psychological makeup.
Yeah. I guess the idea being that, you know, like childhood experiences kind of shape who you are as a person.
Yeah,
moving
and they
forward.
can really influence how your brain develops as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right. And that's what a lot of core beliefs are, is like your brain developing around these things that you believe to be true. So anyway, way off topic, but also an interesting delve into like why this memory even exists today in my brain is because we were floating back and we were looking for the first instance where I felt out of control. And we just tried forever to get past one. And initially you're trying to find the first. You want
Right.
to find the oldest instance of this memory
Patient zero.
or of this,
or
patient
memory
zero.
zero.
Yeah, of where this core belief comes from. So we're going back. When did I not feel in control? When did I not feel in control? We're doing EMDR. We're searching. We're floating back. Then I'm like, holy shit. I've only ever been told stories, little snippets of what happened. No one knew what happened to me, but everyone knew what had happened to me.
Which is you went missing, right?
Yeah,
As a kid?
I went missing as a kid, not for a long time, but from what I've been told, about 6 or 8 hours, maybe a little more, maybe like 10 hours, something like that.
That's a long time.
In a campground surrounded by forest and woods and a creek, like a big creek that ran through it. Obviously a danger for a young child. So yeah, I went missing when I was like 5. I think I was about 5. So basically, to start at the beginning of this story, now that we've established that I just learned about this in my own brain maybe 3 months ago. So I'm 5 years old. I'm out camping with family friends. We're all just having a good time. We're with my family, my brother, my mom, my dad, and we're with our family friends, which is mom, dad, brother, sister, older brother, younger sister. The younger sister is a good childhood friend of mine. We basically were born in the same year, known each other since we were in diapers. So we're all just camping, having a good time. We're at Dinosaur Provincial Park.
Oh, such a great place.
Which is a beautiful place. Fucking love it there. And we used to go there a lot, actually. But yeah, so basically we're hanging out and we're just kind of doing whatever. And then my mom, my friend's mom, my brother, and the girl, the sister, they all go into town because they need to pick something up, which leaves my dad, their dad, the boy, and me at the campground.
Okay.
Kind of left to our own devices. Don't really know what to do. We're kind of bored. My dad and the other dad are kind of doing their own thing. At some point, they decide, take a nap, hanging out. You know, the boys will be fine. They'll just have fun and do whatever. Unbeknownst to them, the boy that was there had made friends with some people off in another campground. They were kind of the next door neighbors to us, basically. So he says, hey, you want to go play with them or whatever? I don't think he even asked me. He was just like, we're going to go play with those people over there because there were some kids our age. Well, kids his age. He was 3 years older than me, 2 or 3 years older than me.
Right.
So we're all just like, yeah, let's have some fun. Let's do it. So we go over there to the other campground with the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much immediately they're like, hey, do you guys want to go on a hike? So, of course, we're just kids and, you know, adventure is adventure.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great time.
What a different time, too. That like I feel like nowadays you could never just randomly take some other person's kids on a hike, you know?
No, totally not. But also, there was no adults involved.
Oh, sorry. I assumed that like these other friends and stuff.
No, they were also kids.
Okay.
Yeah, we were all kids. Their parents, I don't know where they were, the other campground's kids. But we were all kind of just left to our own devices. And it was a marker of a different time because I was 5 years old, so it would have been like year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so even the year 2000, different times. Parenting was a bit more relaxed. If you're at a campground, you know, let the kids run around a bit.
Pre-cell phones, mostly. Like, I know my parents didn't have cell phones till 2003, I think.
My dad had a cell phone for sure.
Did he? Okay.
I don't think my mom did at that point. She might have. But yeah, like, of course, we didn't have any form of communication. We didn't even have like walkie-talkies or anything, right? We were just kids adventuring, having a good time. It was 2000. It was summer. We were just excited to be alive. So basically, yes, we decided to go on this hike. You know, sounds fun. Let's go on an adventure. And I'm so young that they barely acknowledge me. I'm just tagging along, trying to keep up, you know. So we start taking off on this trail that just, it's kind of open. Still, we're in Dinosaur Provincial Park, so it's pretty like arid and there's a lot of space. But eventually there are woods and there are places that you can find yourself they're a little more cramped, kind of following the creek that goes through Dinosaur Provincial Park. And so I'm following them down this path. You know, it's open. It feels fun. There's sun beating down on us. We're having a great time. I just remember like laughing and not understanding what the fuck they were talking about. They were like picking up bugs, you know, just having fun, kicking rocks, throwing dirt at each other, you know, just like what kids do.
Boys being boys.
Boys being boys. So yeah, we're just having fun. I'm just following along, trying to keep up. And then we get to sort of the entrance of the woods. And once we get to the entrance of the woods, things start getting a little more cramped, a little darker. And it feels like almost as if the day has shifted like 5 or 6 hours just because we've left the sunlight, you know?
Yeah.
And at that time in my life, I wasn't very aware of time and, you know, just the passing of existence, essentially. I didn't know my place. I was just a kid, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. I had no sense of direction, which I still don't. This might be the origin.
Yeah.
Of why I have no direction, because I was like so lost that I just never believed in myself to ever find a place ever again. As you would call directionally challenged, geographically challenged is what I call it.
Directional insanity.
Yeah. Directional insanity. So yeah, we head to the woods. They're still going at their pace, but I think I'm starting to feel a little cold, and I'm feeling a little tired, and I'm feeling a little scared.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where we're going. I don't know what we're doing. But at some point, my friend who's there and his friends that are there, they kind of run off on a path before I can kind of catch up. They're getting a little ahead of me. So they peel off somewhere. And as soon as I kind of see them run off somewhere, they turn, I run after them, and I can't find them.
Oh, no.
They're gone. Just blip, out of existence, no longer in my line of sight. I don't know which way they went. So I'm kind of just standing there, kind of frozen, kind of like just looking around. And at this point, I don't think, like, they can't be too far. Like, whatever logic I have in a 5-year-old brain, I'm like, well, I can find them. No, it'll be fine.
Yeah, they were just there.
So I just start walking in the direction I think they were going. And unbeknownst to me, I'm just walking further and further into the woods. I don't really know where I'm going. But I'm following something, you know? I'm going somewhere. And I'm just a kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no survival techniques
Yeah.
bred into me at all.
I mean, you're 5.
Yeah, I'm 5. I don't know how to live. I'm a fucking baby cub. You know?
Just a little bit baby bear.
Just a little baby bear wandering the woods. So yeah, they're gone. I'm alone. And things start getting darker.
Yeah.
Things start getting colder. And then I just start to walk kind of frantically, like searching for anything, searching for any person. Nothing showing up, you know? From what I can remember, I couldn't hear much. I couldn't see much. I could only see a few trees ahead of me. The forest was getting denser as I was walking, you know?
Sure,
the trees, they felt like a million miles tall because I'm so fucking short.
I mean, I just want to maybe quickly interject because, like, I spent a lot of time in the woods and, you know, stuff like that as like a kid. And
well,
maybe
you
around
lived
10
near
years.
a forest, right? Like you backed onto a forest at some point?
Yeah. Just like a big kind of valley and stuff that had like pathways in it. But yeah, it was quite forested and stuff. And like, maybe around 10 years old, I found myself in like a similar situation. And I was probably only lost for about like 10 minutes, but like terrifying.
Felt like forever.
Twice as old as you were in your story. And truly a very, very scary experience.
Yeah.
Let alone being 5.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm in a place that I don't recognize.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a provincial park far away from where I grew up, far away from where I live.
Yeah.
And I don't have any resources but my shoes, my shirt, and my pants.
Yeah.
You know, and my will to survive. So yeah, the trees, the canopy that covered the sun felt immense, like a cage. And I felt like a little rat, just like trying to find my way. And I probably walked for an hour or two before I decided like to try and figure something out.
Yeah.
because I was just freaking out. At a certain point, I went from like having fun and looking for my friends to like, oh, I'm in danger.
I'm in a situation.
Yeah, this is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
So I just start like, I don't know. It's almost the classic like lost in the woods, you've lost your fucking mind kind of thing, except I'm 5 and I have no emotional capabilities to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't have the maturity to kind of put into words what I'm feeling or to even understand that I'm feeling terrified or that I'm feeling my survival instincts kind of pop in.
Honestly, you probably felt a lot of those feelings for the very first time.
Yeah, that might have been the first time I felt like I was in real danger and I couldn't articulate it.
Yeah.
So there was this real sense of just total loss of control. I felt like I had no grasp on being at all.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain complex feelings that I can understand now that I know I was feeling then that I wish I could have known. I wish I could have helped me when I was 5. Like there's so many problems just that could have been solved if I could just figure out how to tell my 5-year-old self all these things. Because there was this degree of complexity to the situation that I didn't understand. And emotionally, I know I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I was just running around. I got into a cycle where I was probably just going in circles. I got into cycles where I was probably just walking further away from where I needed to be. Points where I was stumbling. I definitely fell a few times. I was in pain.
Probably panicking.
I was
imagine.
panicking. My feet hurt. And at some point, I don't remember exactly during the journey, but I just started crying because I think that's the only thing that I could do because I had nothing else.
Yeah.
All I had was terror and tears.
Yeah.
And so I was crying, wandering, slowing down, reaching a precipice of probably giving up, passing out, something.
Sure. Yeah.
I can't know because at that time, what do you know about your body? You know nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
You're just finding out that you have one. So yeah, I wandered for a while, slowed down, got to a point, and then something in me, some 5-year-old wisdom, or maybe it was just physical exhaustion, something told me just wait. So I found a nice little mossy area just to sit down, and I sat. And a little bit of sun popped through the canopy. I sat there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I can still remember the little mossy patterns on the bark and just the way I was feeling. There was a point when I was just sitting there staring at trees, looking up at the canopy of the trees, looking up at the leaves, looking down at my feet, sitting in the dirt. There was a point where I almost reached some kind of acceptance of where I was and what had happened to me and what was going on. And I had almost resigned in a way.
Yeah.
Like if I think back now, it feels like almost a type of ego death or of an acceptance that I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I knew it.
Just powerlessness, right?
Yeah.
Like a sense of powerlessness.
I was totally alone and I was small.
Yeah. But you did the right thing. I'm glad like your instinct or whatever it was that drove you to stay still.
Whatever it was that just said like, just wait.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what saved me. Because if I kept going, if I got more delirious, I probably would have fell in the creek or I would have lost my mind.
Moved further from camp than you already were kind of thing. Yeah.
Encountered an animal, you know? At that point, when you're 5, you're prey for anything.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Anything that eats, you're done. So yeah, I was just this tiny little target walking around in like a little buffet, and anything could have grabbed me at any time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was something serene about sitting there. Something that obviously I couldn't know in the moment, couldn't articulate.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was far too complex for my 5-year-old brain to really recognize. But when I reflect on it now, it feels like serenity. It feels like absolute just opening myself up to the possibility of not making it.
Yeah.
And so I sat there. I waited. I cried. At some point, I was too tired to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, I'm lost. I'm done. That's it.
Little boy lost in the woods.
And I don't know how long I was there. Probably 2 or 3 hours, maybe more.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, a family friend that was also there camping with us just walks up to me.
Oh my God.
Out of nowhere. Almost ethereal.
Yeah.
Almost like if I were now my age, I would think that he's a fucking hallucination. But he just seemingly came out of nowhere. He looked at me, kind of sighed. He was like,
I bet. Yeah.
He was so fucking relieved. And like, I could see him like tearing up. And he grabbed me, picked me up, slumped me over his shoulder, like picked me up and held me. And he carried me back.
Yeah.
All the way.
Do you have any memories of like how far away from your camp you actually were?
It probably took us about 35 minutes to get back to camp.
So quite a freaking, especially for a 5-year-old with your little legs and stuff. Like,
I wandered far.
Yeah.
And he carried me 35 minutes away. Unfortunately, that family friend's no longer with us, but I'm sure that if he wasn't there at that time, I might not have made it. Yeah. I'm so grateful to that guy. But yeah, during this entire time that I was out in the woods, my mom got back, noticed I was gone.
Yeah.
Asked my dad, where the fuck is Matt?
Oh, John. Oh, no.
And they sent the goddamn cavalry out like right away.
Oh, yeah.
They had search parties. They had the park wardens. They had everyone looking for me.
Yeah.
And they tried to ask our family friend, the boy, where'd you guys go? Because they came back to camp.
Oh, of course they did.
They left me out to die.
Fuck's sake.
Like, we're good now. It's all good. We were kids.
Of course, yeah.
It's not like they intended to drag me out to the woods and leave me to die. But yeah, they sent everybody looking for me. Everyone who was camping with us, people from the campground, the other family, everyone was looking everywhere. My mom was losing her shit. Every worst case scenario came to her mind. Like, he probably fell in the creek. He probably got eaten by a bear. Who fucking knows? But I can't imagine the terror they felt.
Well, parents' worst nightmare, really. Right?
Oh, yeah. Kid's gone. But yeah, so that's the memory that came back to me while doing these EMDR sessions randomly.
That just wild.
That I didn't know about.
Yeah.
It happened to me. It was an integral part of my human experience. And I didn't remember a goddamn thing from it.
Well, your
popped out.
Brain honestly was probably trying to protect you from like what clearly was a traumatic memory. Like I've had a few of those in my past. And it's the weirdest feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like it's like you're watching this film.
Yeah, like this
something that happened to you.
Yeah.
And it's so surreal.
This thing that like wasn't there is suddenly there, and you like know so intrinsically that like, oh, this is like real. This is
real,
an experience that I had.
This happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh, I'm so glad
your brain
you had
can
that moment.
Just repress such important things, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a weird mechanism that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how to protect ourselves, but it may not be the healthiest way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience to like learn about this moment in my life.
Yeah. Because I've, and it's very cool. I know you kind of mentioned it when you first went through your therapy and stuff, and it seemed like a very cool moment, but we never really talked about it in depth. And obviously I think your mom's told me that story like 10 times or something. And your dad's mentioned it a few times. Maybe a little less since you were lost on his watch, I guess. But
yeah, but like it was a huge moment.
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, crazy. it's just wild. So yeah.
What a crazy time. So I'd love to try EMDR one day. I mean, I've done a fair bit of research on therapists over the last like bunch of years and stuff. And seems like it's all the rage these days. Like it seems like it's like the in practice.
I couldn't recommend it more.
Yeah.
And we will definitely do an episode on it because it's something that has really helped me. It's helped people I know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's really scary to get into.
Yeah.
So people get scared off from it, and it could be really beneficial to a lot of people that might be scared of it. So yeah, it's definitely a fascinating thing and should be tried by people.
Yeah. With a therapist.
Yes, with a therapist. Definitely with someone who's trained in it, because you do have to be very specifically trained in
and I do know
EMDR.
that like not all memories need to be brought up. Also,
true.
Kind of disclaimer as well. Like that's where I
whatever
think
you're
the therapist
comfortable
would
with,
come in, like a supervised thing. Yeah.
Yeah, therapists will be able to gauge how traumatic things are for you and what lines you shouldn't cross.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway, that's Moments in Life, Part 1.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I was happy to. I was glad that we could come up with a forum to do it.
Yeah.
And it felt good just to tell that story because it's like such a integral part of my life, I guess.
Yeah, like a foundational moment.
Yeah.
I guess.
So yeah, thank you so much everybody for listening. This has been fun sharing with you. Hope you liked the episode. Bit different, bit weird, but felt like a good thing. It does come up, this story does come up every once in a while at 3 a.m. when I'm laying in bed. I'll think about like, man, I was fucking lost in the woods. It was insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So follow us on Twitter at
Seamless.
It's 3 a.m. pod at It's 3 a.m. pod. Check out our YouTube channel just for, a nice little visual if you want to listen to our voices and stare at a TV screen.
Mm-hmm. No ads on YouTube.
No ads. Very important. And other than that,
go to bed, everybody.
Yeah, go to bed.